Today we're going to visit with North Dakota Game and Fish Director Jeb Williams and talk about the challenges and successes from this year and what lies ahead in 2022. I'm Mike Anderson with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Jeb, you really can't talk about a year in review of 2021 without mentioning the change in leadership.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, there's no doubt that Terry's leadership throughout over the last 15 years and of course over a good chunk of 2021 deserves acknowledging. And as we've talked about before, I'm honored to be in the new position and look forward to my continued new role with the department.
Jeb, just finished your fall round of advisory board meetings. I know there's a lot of important issues that you wanted to talk about. How did those go?
It went really well, Mike. We, like you said, hit all 8 advisory board meetings, which was different this year, but it was important to me and important to everybody that attended, and obviously our local staff. They're very instrumental with those individuals at those specific meetings. Yeah, we had a great discussion. All 8 meetings provided great input on a wide variety of topics, and as normal, advisory board meetings are the give and take. Folks around those meetings, around those local areas have specific input and ideas or things that they see in their area. But then the Game and Fish Department always has topics that we want to share with the public as well, as far as what's on our mind, what we're thinking about, what different topics and initiatives we have going on. So it's always a good couple hour discussion with the sporting public.
Jeb, I know how important this fall for you to have those in person.
It was. We've experimented with the virtual meetings, and we had to do those there for a little while. But if we have the opportunity to do them in person, Mike, that's the best option out there. You lose some when you do it virtually. It's a nice option, like I said, when we have to do it that way. But as far as that conversation that's so important to the department to be there and to visit with individuals, that's really important to us. And the virtual option works well when the department has information solely to get out to the public, but it really doesn't allow for that good conversational feedback that you get at those meetings when you are in person. So it was great to do the meetings again in person.
Jeb, we're at the end of 2021. Game and Fish had a lot of things going on this year. Let's talk about some of the accomplishments.
Yeah, so I think a couple of things, and this goes back to advisory board meetings a little bit, a couple of things that were talked about a lot at advisory board meetings was electronic posting. Obviously a very big change in North Dakota that was implemented at the end of the 2021 legislative session. And so now it was put to work. It was put on the ground and to see how everything was going to work with the tools that were put in place. And overall, we've heard a lot of really positive comments from both landowners and the sporting public as far as how that went and how that worked. And so we were pleased by that. And there's been a lot of work that's gone into it to make it as seamless as possible, but it was still really nice to have those conversations with people and to really get their feelings and experiences of how that impacted them. So that was very positive.
Another huge success in 2021 was the Meadowlark initiative launch.
For sure, any type of grassland initiative in North Dakota is critical to our state and what the future state of North Dakota looks like with fish and wildlife species. Grassland is just such a huge component of North Dakota, always has been, and we need it to be more so in the future if we want to retain and keep our wildlife opportunities in place and also just doing best for the resources. Initiative like this goes a long way for all those things. Goes a long way for game species, non-game species, all those things that the department is charged with management for. And so anytime we can collaborate with partners, landowners, and obviously then the department being a main contact for all that is something that we feel good about. We feel good about the options in front of private landowners to try to give them these options and voluntary programs to be able to look at their operation and how they can integrate agriculture and conservation practices together.
Jeb, a lot of challenges in 2021 as well. It was very dry this year. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt when we talk about challenges for not just this past year, but potentially looking forward, it's summed up in one word, and that's drought. North Dakota was probably as dry as we've close to ever been in the state throughout 2021, and really it goes back even a year prior to that as well, where we started to really dry out in the summer, and then of course in the fall of 2020. And so it really does start scaling back a little bit, and with the heat we had on top of the dry conditions last year, we noticed that a lot for fish and wildlife resources in the state, and had some impacts on them. And again, if we don't see a change moving forward into 2022, it's going to be something that we're going to continue to be talking about. And that was another item discussed at the public meetings, is the expectation, especially for our fisheries and our lakes across the state that have a lot of infrastructure with boat ramps that are going to be, or maybe already are, impacted by low lake levels, low river levels, those types of things, that it's going to be a big lift for the department and our partners to try to keep those expectations in place for people out there that do have that expectation for all those resources and infrastructures to be usable.
Jeb, another huge challenge, especially midsummer to late summer into fall, was the Ehd outbreak in deer, especially white-tailed deer.
Yeah, no doubt, especially how unusually far east and north the impact was this year. For folks in southwest North Dakota, Ehd is not those words aren't foreign. They've experienced it before. They know what it is. They understand the dynamic with it. They understand that certain locations you can see a very high mortality rate, while other areas it seems like they're not impacted at all. So as far east and as far north as it went this year, it not only impacted new deer, it impacted hunters as well that have not experienced and gone through that. So the department communicated with a lot of folks on that subject, on that issue, and what's going to be important for us to now is to address what we have left on the landscape. And of course we do that by monitoring how our deer season went through hunter questionnaires in those particular units. And then also it's going to be very important for us to do our best to get as much winter aerial survey done if we get the snowpack that allows us to do that. So like every year, we'll be assessing that heading into setting those license numbers in 2022. So Mike, while Ehd garnered a lot of attention and a lot of discussion this year, which rightfully so, I think it's also important to talk about the positive increase we've seen with deer numbers across the state in general. This year, for example, we offered as many white-tailed deer and mule deer licenses in the state as we've seen since 2013, and that's a really positive thing. Now, again, we know that there's some units we're probably going to have to adjust moving forward based on the Ehd outbreak, but from a statewide perspective, there's also many areas in the state that were not impacted by Ehd who had very good deer hunting seasons, which has been very nice trajectory over the last several years.
Any other challenges for the North Dakota Game and Fish Department?
The department has some constant challenges that we've been trying to manage and balance to the best of our ability over the last number of years. Chronic wasting disease being one of those, aquatic nuisance species being another one. Those are more in our constant as far as trying to manage those challenging issues year in and year out.
Jeb, we have many other challenges, but what lies ahead for 2022?
Well, I think we always have to keep things in perspective in North Dakota, that we know that we go through some highs and lows in our state. That's kind of what North Dakota gives us. And one of the things that is always special about North Dakota is, regardless if pheasant populations are down, deer populations are down, something else is going to be up. And we always have that opportunity in North Dakota as outdoor enthusiasts to pursue something that is going to be very good at a specific period of time. And so there's no doubt when drought does come, it provides some opportunities. It gives some areas, as far as like say wetlands, it recharges those different wetlands. It makes them more productive once they do fill up again. And so we see that with a lot of different situations out there, that it also provides some opportunity. And again, we know that North Dakota is still a lot better than many other places in the country, even on dry years. So I think that as always, we're going to have some positives out there, but we're going to have some challenges. That's just what North Dakota gives us each and every year, really.
Right, and we've had in the last decade, some of the best fishing we've ever had in our state.
Yeah, we continue to see a record number of lakes that the department is managing. Those opportunities are phenomenal. The survey information as far as angler satisfaction is sky high. So we know that the public is appreciative of those and taking advantage of those opportunities across the state. And again, that's something that the department is going to continue to be very supportive of and do the work that we can with the budget that we're allowed, and obviously with the conditions that we're allowed by Mother Nature to continue to maintain as much opportunity as we possibly can.
A lot of positives in addition to all the lakes and all the fish populations. We've had a new bobcat season east of the river as well.
Yeah, again, some additional opportunities that are out there now in eastern part of North Dakota. There's a bobcat season on the landscape like there has been in the western part of the state for a number of years. And our plots program, for example, continuing to gain numbers and some good quality habitat pieces that have been added to that. And so lots of positive things on the landscape. Again, knowing that we have some challenges in North Dakota with drought and disease issues, but lots of positive things for folks that like to recreate in North Dakota's outdoors.
A lot of great information, Jeb. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.